Today, we're diving into a really tough and, frankly, very personal topic: what you can actually do when you're being stalked online. If this is happening to you, I just want to start by saying that what you're feeling is completely valid. The whole point of this explainer is to give you a clear, no-nonsense guide based on expert advice for how to reclaim your safety and, get your life back. So let's get into it. And this is really the place we have to start. This isn't just some online annoyance you can ignore. The experts are crystal clear. Being stalked online can completely upend your world. It's a serious, serious threat that can really mess with your mental health, making you feel almost as obsessed as your stalker. We have to treat it with that level of seriousness from the get-go. All right, to figure out the solution, we need a solid plan. So first, we're going to dig into the reality of what it's actually like for victims. Then, we'll look at why the advice you usually hear just doesn't work. After that, we'll map out the best path to safety, how to find the right kind of professional help, and finally, what it takes to really take back control of your life. Okay, so let's start with the real-world impact. Because even though the harassment happens online, the weight of it, well, you feel it every single minute of the day. And often, it's in ways that nobody else around you can even see. The consequences here are really specific. This isn't just about feeling a bit down. We're talking about documented, serious harm to your mental health. Things like not being able to sleep, falling into a heavy depression, and just living in this constant state of frustration and worry. It's this awful cycle that can totally take over your every thought.
And this is such a critical point. The real damage isn't just from what the stalker is doing, it's from the simple, terrifying knowledge that you're being watched. That constant awareness is what creates the endless distress. It's exactly why you can't just turn off the computer and have it go away. The threat feels constant because that knowledge is always there in the back of your mind. Which brings us to something that is a huge source of frustration for so many victims. You finally reach out for help, and the advice you get, well, it just doesn't work. Sometimes it even makes things worse. I mean, this slide really says it all, doesn't it? On one hand, victims are told to just log off, just walk away. But the reality is that stalkers don't just get bored and leave. They wait. They'll just wait for you to come back online. The advice doesn't even begin to address the obsessive, relentless nature of the problem.
So why the huge disconnect? Well, the sources point to some real systemic issues. Let's be honest, policing in this digital world is incredibly complicated. There's often a major gap in the skills, the training, and the funding needed to actually trace and stop someone online. It's not necessarily a lack of wanting to help, but a lack of the specialized tools to fight this very specific type of crime.
Okay, but knowing why it's hard doesn't help you when you need a solution, like right now. So let's pivot away from the problem and talk about what the experts say is the most effective way forward, and it's all about taking decisive action.
This is the question, isn't it? The one that really matters. And the answer isn't about hiding or just hoping they get tired. The answer is about facing the situation directly, but in a very specific, strategic way. The most powerful weapon, according to our sources, is a decisive legal challenge, driven by specialist lawyers. Now, the most important word here is commitment. You have to be ready to see this all the way through, because a half-hearted attempt can seriously backfire and make everything worse. The whole point is to systematically take apart the stalker's fantasy that they are the one in control.
Which, of course, leads us to the most crucial step in that whole process, finding the right person to have in your corner. And when I say right, in this case, that means a true specialist.
Think about it. You wouldn't go to your family doctor for brain surgery, right? It's the same idea here. You need a lawyer who lives and breathes internet law, someone who gets the technical side of how the internet actually works, not just the legal statutes. They need to have real experience with these specific cases and understand how every single move can affect your reputation. This is basically your checklist for finding that expert. This comparison really shows why that depth is so important. A quick 15-minute free call? It's just not enough time for anyone to really get the complexity of a stalking case. What you need is a comprehensive consultation, one where they do their homework, they research, and they come up with a real long-term strategy. That's how you get an effective plan, not just a shot-in-the-dark piece of advice. So let's focus on the endgame here, because all the legal action, all the strategy, that's all just a means to an end. The real prize, the thing you're fighting for, is getting your life back. And that's it. Right there. This is the whole reason for doing any of this. It's not about revenge. It's not even just about making the harassment stop. It is about restoring your own freedom, your peace of mind, and that feeling of being safe in the world again.
And that whole journey, it really does start with one single step. The sources really stress the incredible relief that comes from finally talking to someone who not only gets what you're going through, but actually has a plan to fix it. That conversation, by itself, is a huge act of taking back your power.
Now, the source material for this whole explainer actually comes from the experts at Cohen Solicitors. They're a firm that has focused only on this area of internet law for more than 20 years. Their entire expertise is built around navigating these exact complexities to get real, lasting, legally binding results for people. So, if you're in a situation like the one we've been talking about and you need that kind of specialist help, please don't wait. We've put all the contact details in the description right below. You can also call the free number on your screen for a totally confidential consultation. We'll leave you with that question to think about. As more and more of our lives move online, the very definition of what it means to be safe is changing. Knowing your rights and knowing the paths you can take to protect yourself is more critical now than ever before. If this explainer has been helpful to you, please give it a like and subscribe for more straightforward guides on tough topics.